Okay, so are developers heading in the right direction by trying to overcome the uncanny valley, or is that a hindrance? Would making avatars less human and more characterized create a better or a worse experience? Would it be less immersive?
Well, NVIDIA is making amazing strides in the uncanny valley aspect. I've seen a lot of great demos with their shaders and skin to bring that up to speed, where the light refracts and reflects correctly and all that. So they're making great strides. For the time being, less realistic is better, until such a time as the technology can mimic a human face almost perfect on a normal hardware. So in context of, say, Second Life here, less realistic. We're not totally photorealistic. I've seen faces in here. I have a head of my own face that I made, and it's photorealistic. I've done Robert Downey Jr.'s face, and it's dead on. But does it matter? Well, no, it's not exact. And because I do stuff at that level, unless everything is perfect, it's not going to matter. You'd have to be imperceptible to the human eye, and that's hard to do. You'd have to have a lot more research in that. So we can have a caricature of ourselves, and that's a good start. So my avatar in here is actually a caricature of me in real life. While I could do my own head and face and all that, dead on, the hardware and the software isn't capable of conveying the nuance that we are picking up in our faces, And I think that's actually what a lot of high fidelity.io is working on. They're trying to get that. They're trying to pull that out, get the nuance of, your glance and eye tracking and how your facial features work. They're trying to do that because those nuances, while we don't consciously perceive them, subconsciously we do, and that makes all the difference. So, should we say developers shouldn't be going to try to rocket jump the uncanny valley? No, they should. Absolutely. They're not going to get there anytime soon, but they should keep right on going and try.
Interesting. So in your article, you mention ubiquity in virtual worlds, meaning that they can be immersive everywhere. My iPhone app, writes this student, my iPhone app store only has a Second Life notifier, which simply lets you know if your friends are in-world. What other ways, with today's technology, or older, can we make Second Life more ubiquitous? I'm thinking about how Minecraft used simpler graphics to be more adaptable to common and ever outdated digital devices.
Well, I have Second Life on my tablet using the Lumia viewer, and it's free on Google Play if you want it. It actually has a 3D view and everything, not just a messenger. I think, however, when we speak about ubiquity of virtual worlds, we also should be talking about the components that are used elsewhere and can be connected, useful with or without the 3D aspect added, much like the messenger example. So would it suffice to have the equivalent of, say, Skype, video, audio, and text chat as a standalone application, but it just so happens to allow you to log into a virtual world account for your messages too and place video and voice calls to your friends in the world? I think that's how we attain that ubiquity in the virtual world, through totally unrelated services and applications that suddenly get connected together and start speaking to each other with that interoperability standard. So I think the metaverse exists. It just nobody's talking to each other in all those pieces. And when they do, you're suddenly going to see this huge explosion of, holy crap, it's, everything's interconnected. But the pieces have already been there for years. They just got to talk to each other.
Okay. And have you heard of Google Cardboard virtual reality? Is there a way to adapt something like that, adapt Second Life to that?
I've heard of Google Cardboard, but never seen it actually used for Second Life. I'm sure there's probably a way, though. That's my answer for that one.
Okay. And can Second Life be used on the latest gaming consoles, like PS4, Nintendo, Wii, or Xbox One?
I haven't seen it, actually. I'm sure it could be. I haven't actually seen anything like that, to be honest, but I'm sure it could run on it if they, got together and said, hey, let's make a version for PS4 or Xbox One or Nintendo Wii. I'm sure if like Linden Labs sat down and said, "Hey, we want to do this," I'm sure they can come up with a version. I mean, we got a version of Minecraft on those systems, so why not?
Is there a version of Second Life or like one available for younger participants?
There used to be. It was the SL Teen Grid, but they shut it down and merged it all together with this grid. Virtual worlds for younger children would be something like Roblox, Minecraft, Club Penguin, and Disney Infinity. Those are geared towards children.
How many people are behind the scenes of Second Life?
Your guess is as good as mine. That's my answer.
Okay.
Your guess is as good as mine.
Okay. So, what are some, just type this, some other virtual reality sites, and how are they the same or different?
My answer for that is a long one. If it's still around, I know there.com is around. Active Worlds is still around. Not sure about Blue Mars. Avatar Blue Mars might still be around on its last legs, but from what I remember, Active Worlds has been around since the 90s. It's not as graphically advanced as you'd say with SL here. The avatars don't look nearly as good. Content in Active Worlds looks only as good as your object path, which is to say, it's only as good as the mesh that you're uploading. And since not a lot of people use the platform anymore, the meshes don't look good. They're about on par with the box that's around his head over there. Not the highest quality stuff, but it can support it. Back in 1998 through 2005, I've uploaded photorealistic avatars in there, so it's possible to do. I've uploaded, high-end content, buildings, you name it. It's possible. Now, differences in Active Worlds, the land goes on forever. There's no simulation space is not like the size of the sim in here. There's a world in there that's free to build on, and it's the size of California in landmass. It's contiguous, so you actually can have a race with a car across the across the virtual world. So that is one big difference. Whereas around here, you couldn't really race too much. You can't race across anywhere. It's possible to build bigger stuff. Whole cities, for example, exist in Active Worlds. The other big difference is they have a better particle effect system. Right out of the gate, I'll say that. Particle effects in SL are a pain in the butt to make. They run slow. In Active Worlds, they run super fast, and they're dead simple. It's point and click. It's built into the toolbox. So you can just type in a couple of numbers and have particles run at no problem. High speed. Another thing is, let's see, they have zones. That's another big thing. Zones are kind of like what you would have anyway in a game toolbox, and zones don't exist in SL really, aside from parcels. You have your parceling in here, but you can't drop like a mega prim and say that in this, inside this block, it's darker. Light doesn't come in here, or inside this, when the avatar's inside this little block here, particles cannot enter. You can't do stuff like that. You can't say inside this block is defined as water. At which point, if my avatar is inside this block, I'm floating in water and swimming. You can't reverse gravity in a block by doing stuff like that, and that's what zones do. Something I have said years ago, actually on the Jira for SL, I said flat out, why don't you have zones? You can have weather and everything in here, no problem. You can have, all kinds of cool stuff. And they said, oh, well, and it kind of got blown away. So the differences are, one of those questions where I'd say, Google is your friend. Go look it up. There's a lot of differences.
Yes, absolutely.